What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
How y'all doing out there? Welcome to Local Musicians.
XP.
Oh,
I
uh-huh.
got it in.
A little late, but you were strong with it, man. I like it. You were strong with it. All
I'm
right.
getting there.
Yeah. So, welcome to the show, everybody. We are here for your audio and visual pleasure. We are down a man tonight, man. Down a man. But you know what, man? When you gotta, the show must go on. The show must go on. Our brother, partner in crime, the great Tyrone Jackson, is stuck in the airport. Man. Bad weather. He's on his way to New Orleans. Flight delayed, and is either still at the airport or stuck in the sky, man. So if he can roll with us, he will get here possibly later on, but most likely a two-man production tonight with my main man, Mr. Daryl Reeves. How are you, sir? What's going on with you, man?
I'm okay. I'm fine. Just taking it all in stride like Theo.
One thing about you, man, you are it's the same. Whether things are high, things are low, things are medium, you have the same temperament, man. That is that's an art to that, man. That's serious. That is serious. So are you a person that you don't let your emotions get the best of you?
Yeah, I try not to. Just just try to skip the drama phase and just go straight to the whatever makes sense. That whatever makes sense. Like let's
Well, I
skip
heard
all
that,
of that.
man.
Yeah.
Speaking of drama, I had a little fender bender a few days ago, man. Man, I tell you, man, the way these cats are driving out here, man.
Yeah, I already know.
It's a shame, but you just you adapt, you move on. Luckily, nobody was seriously injured, but it was a three car accident, man. This young dude, man, it's gonna be bad for him because it's just gonna be it's gonna be a serious learning experience. But I believe they are going to total my car out, man. My Pilot, I love that car, but you got to move on, man. You got to get to the next phase. Which I was back in my mind, I was thinking about. I was thinking about it, like it was not something I wanted to do, but it was like, man, I would like to have something a little, maybe a little, but a little newer or a little more current, I guess. But the thing about the Honda Pilot, man, is the coveted ones are like the late model 2011, 12, 13, 14, because of the body style. So they changed the body, man. That car, man, is such, it's the perfect like drummer car, family car. It's like you in your living room. So so I already found a couple of options. I found one. I put a hold on it. I got to check it out, see what's up, but we'll see what the insurance company comes back with. But yeah, man, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, sorry to hear that, man. Like I know.
Yeah, I hate paying for other people's mistakes, man. That's like one of my major pet peeves, man, is paying for other people's mistakes, man. But you know what? Like I said, still here, everybody's cool. So and like I said, nobody was seriously injured. So that's a blessing in itself, man.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Yeah, these lights are kind of bright. I'll turn them down a little bit. So other than that, man, we don't have too many gigs. We got some gigs. Actually, there's a gig coming up at this Saturday with Carla Harris that I think is open to the public. Let me pull it up real quick. Believe it is at the Wolf Creek Library, and I'm going to pull that up here. Yes. So for those that are interested, Wolf Creek Library over off of Camp Creek. And that is Saturday afternoon. I don't have the time. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's going to be at 2:00 over at Wolf Creek Library. That is free and open to the public. So if you guys are on that side of town or you want to come down, we will be doing an educational bit as well to start, and then we will do some performance. The whole thing is 90 minutes. And then we are at Newtown Park, same band, Carla Harris's band, in Johns Creek, and that is at 6:30. So this is all Saturday. So we got Wolf Creek Library at 2, and then Newton Park, which is going to be outdoors, free event, Juneteenth community free event, and that will be starting at 6:30. So if y'all want to come out and hang out at those, man, come on out, man. Come on out. You got any shows coming out? I know you don't. You just in the lab right now, man. You
right, I am
thinking about that. I hear that.
Yeah, I'm producing some stuff right now, so it's going well.
Okay,
it's going well.
All right. So, all right, man. Well, we had a great topic tonight. We are going to pivot off of that topic because that really is a three-man production with that topic, because I want to get everybody's input, and the topic is going to be what are you thinking before you play? So I was asked that earlier today, and I've been asked that a lot in the past. I've never really been able to answer it, so I kind of had to think about that. Like, what are we thinking? Is it good to think? Sometimes you're not thinking, you're just reacting. So I think that'll be a nice little for the three of us to kind of go through and with the different instruments and just kind of give our analysis on that. But we're going to wait on that next week. But for you sax lovers, okay, and drum lover, we got a special version of the breakdown. We're going to do a little breakdown for you tonight, and we're gonna pick a standard that has been done how many times, Daryl?
A million times.
So when let me ask you this, man, because we all do it, right? We pick a standard, and we may either, play that on a gig, or we play it, or we record it. My personal philosophy is to try to come up with my own version of whatever that standard is, right?
Yeah.
What you hear a lot of people do, they just play the standard as it is, right?
Right.
Not happening to me. Like, the whole point of listening to the history of a lot of tunes is everybody kind of had their own way of speaking through that tune,
Right. Exactly.
So, is it laziness? Is it just, I mean, I guess there could be a multitude of reasons for why people don't take chances with or try to come up with their own version of standards. But what's your, you kind of agree with what I was saying, but give me your take on, your take on playing standards.
Well, I think there are different phases of development, and the first phase of development is being able to say, okay, I played a solo, I got through it, I played the changes, and I was able to fit within, like I was able to do something good enough that would be considered, this is on that professional level. Like, you know what I mean? Like a Clifford Brown, I can sound like Clifford Brown, or I can sound like Sonny Rollins, that kind of thing. So that's one level of it. But then to me, the next level is trying to sound like yourself and add a new flavor to playing this, standard. And the standard is
Mhm.
just kind of standards have 2-5-1 chord changes in them, and and melodies that are well known. So to me, it's about when you're once you get to that next level, you're trying to find your own way to express, have your own voice through this thing, and yeah, just develop your own voice. I mean, when we listen to all of the greats, we know exactly who they are, and we can compare. Okay, Bird did this on this song, but then Dizzy
Mhm.
did this on this song, and this is where
Mhm.
Miles took it, and then you can go
Mhm.
all the way down the line and now listen to Wynton playing it and listen to what Wynton added
Mhm.
to the picture and
Mhm.
everything like that. So I think it's about using those songs to express your own voice, and it's a good measure. Like when you're just playing like modal stuff, like
Mhm.
that's kind of anybody can. The modal stuff is where a lot of people that haven't worked out anything can kind of come in and just kind of skate over it because they're not really challenged by having a more strict structure to work around. So
Right.
I think the standards are more of a challenge to be able to come in and be like, yeah, I can do all of these skills associated with bebop. I can play it linearly across chord changes, and I
Right.
can play around with the melody. I can interact with the musicians and show my interactive skills, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I think. Yeah.
I think, man, and also it speaks to other genres too, man. If you take a an R&B tune or a rock tune, or why would you just play it like that's already been done?
Right.
Like all of the greats, man, it's about taking something. Bob Dylan was kind of was Bob, a lot of people took Dylan's tunes, and it would make no sense to play it like Dylan played it. They always come up, you
Right.
come up with something different that speaks through you. And people, I mean, it used to be, man, a high mark if you could take somebody else's song and make it your own. That used to
Mhm.
be a super high mark, man. But you don't really hear that as much anymore. I've been studying a tune lately that I think it was I want to say it was written by maybe Dexter Gordon, The Moon Train. And
Okay.
I've been finding a lot of versions of that super cool tune because there's some really cool sections that are in that. I like stuff with like that has like sections. Joe Henderson's music is kind of like that, where
Right.
you
Yeah.
have a lot of different sections with different rhythmic figures, and you can kind of take those rhythmic figures and um change the grooves or change the time signature or change, because there's so much built into those songs a lot of times that they were just hearing what they were hearing and playing it within the tune. But if you can sort of hear that in your own mind, sometimes a great tune is one of my favorites to mess around with. Oh gosh, man, I can't remember any songs. It's Joe Henderson tune, Shade of Jade,
Okay. Okay.
that has
Yeah.
a lot of like very cool sections and rhythmic ideas that you can kind of play around with. But the Moon Train is one of those. I heard uh Ben Williams did a cool version of it, which is one of the more recent versions I've heard, where he kind of put a go-go thing on it because
Oh, okay.
it fits right into that uh 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 uh
Yeah.
there's that figure and it's like that makes total sense that
Right.
you would take it to that. So young guys, if you are have played standards and you really learn the tune and you love the tune, try to come up with your own arrangement of that tune. Just play the tune by the same way that it's already been done, come up with something else. You know, you can almost cut and paste you can move sections, you can change time signatures, you can change tempos, you can change
Right.
grooves, you can change harmony. There's really no rules. There's really no rules. So and that's a great way to build your arrangement skills as well before you start doing your own, you know. And that'll give you ideas to pull into your own music, you know. But try to come up with some arrangements of just standards that you already know, that you know well, and you want to put a different, you know, a different spin on it. So
I mean, it can be a new melody over, you know, familiar chord changes. That's what they. That's part of the tradition.
Yep. They call that what, a contrafact? Is that what they call that? Kind of when they something like that. I'm trying to get I don't know. Well, because you're taking the same tune, but then there's several tunes that are like that are the same chord changes or something else, but it has they wrote a different melody over it. So
you know. Coltrane tune up is Countdown,
right?
And how high the moon, I think that's what Ornithology. You
know, but there's several several, you know, there's several pop tunes like that. It's like you know, when you cats borrow stuff,
right?
You know, you just
you
know, you just borrowing it, you go give it back, but you just, you know, you kind of you just borrowing it, you know. But so you know,
and copyright law, you know,
I was just gonna say
they can't copyright chord changes, so go ahead.
Isn't that a trip, man? That's like I just never understood. I never understood that one, man. I never understood that one.
I mean, you know, it's only so many chords, so
that's true.
Everything, you know,
yeah, man. But well, let's get to it, man. We're gonna do a little breakdown of a tune that, you know, you suggested, which is the Kenny Garrett version of Night and Day. And this is I haven't, and this album is, I got to go back to I got to get with this, because this is Brian Blade in the flesh.
Right.
This is a different Brian Blade than the hipsters know. The hipsters know a completely different Blade than once was. Let's just put it like that. So this is Brian Blade in the flesh here. So Night and Day, Cole Porter? No. Who's Night and Day?
Gotta be Cole Porter.
Is it Cole Porter? Okay.
Yeah.
What year? Just guessing, just off the top of your head.
I don't know what year. Shoot, let me see. Cole Porter. Man,
I'm gonna guess.
Should know this.
I know, that's why I was like, just off the top of your head. I don't even want to say 30s, 20s, 30s?
32. There it is. Yeah, 1932. Yeah.
Okay. So think about this, guys. Like, this is where I think your average person is like, I don't want to hear that old music. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you, because, you know, the you know, the thing is if you already know the tune, and then you can hear the different versions of cats playing certain things, you'd be surprised, because you can really stumble upon some pretty cool stuff like this version. I just caught just a little bit. So this is kind of going to be fresh because I don't think I've probably spent a lot of time with this record.
Okay.
So I think what
And
we're going to
one
do.
thing,
Oh, go ahead.
I want to say something real quick.
Okay.
Like when Winton was talking about, I think he did a talk with Stanley Crouch, and he was talking about the music being old, like the idea of something being old, and he was just like, no, it's not old. Like we have to record and you listen to it. It's right there. You know what I'm saying? It's right there. It's new to you. You haven't heard it. So it's new. Like, and
Yeah.
I really understood. That kind of stuck with me. I really understood where he's coming from, because now you have this whole lo-fi hip-hop movement and a subgenre, lo-fi hip-hop jazz, which is basically taking the changes of standards and putting the beat to it, and it's like brand new and it's cool and it's study music, and it's a whole thing that, like, it really gets a lot of attention. So I'm like, yeah, it's all you do is change the beat, and now you have a totally new thing that's new to everybody. I mean, swing is a beat to me. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Swing is a beat, and you have Latin beats, and then you have funk beats. You know what I'm saying? You got hip hop beats.
It's a beat, man, but that's a concept that seems to be foreign to a lot of people because, and I don't know where the translation was lost. Maybe bebop, because it started to become it wasn't dance music so much anymore, but swing is still swing, man. And I feel like there's a time to be pushing the envelope and interactive, and you guys are everybody's kind of going for it, and you're trying to create this this explosion in the moment and all that kind of stuff. But then there's also a time to back off and just let everything breathe, right? So and those are decisions, that's, again, it's all relative to the musicians and whatever the night kind of calls for. But when you talk about stuff that really, really, really swings, you can see people tapping their foot to it. You can see everybody's sort of got this sort of bounce to them when stuff is swinging. And that's exactly what you're talking about. That's a beat, man. That's a beat, So so let's check this out, man. I'm really excited about hearing this.
Okay.
I'm gonna share, see if I can figure out. We're gonna share the screen. We're gonna pull up our trusty Moises. All right. Okay. And let's see if we can hear this. So I will hit play and we'll see what happens. All right, so I'm gonna stop it there.
Okay.
And let's just talk about the melody, right? And unfortunately, Tyrone not here tonight. Tyrone not here. Sorry. But hello, Heather. Maybe you can't see us. Tyrone's stuck in the airport. So
Wow.
yeah, it's all good. Good to see you, Heather. Thank you for hanging out with us. But okay, so because I think you got some young sax players in the house tonight. So I'm gonna let you kind of talk about the melody and his approach to the melody.
Yeah.
And we'll play that back in a second, but give me your 2 cents about that.
Yeah, I mean, like the way he's playing the melody is in a very, like, he's singing it. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. Like, you know, Frank Sinatra was known for singing this song, and it's as if like he's just approaching the saxophone from a very singing perspective, you know, and you know, like kind of dragging some of the notes, like playing more triplet fills. It's kind of like a thing where he's just not so strict, and it just sounds like he's playing off a lead sheet. It's like he's really making it a natural kind of thing. It like if he actually just took the saxophone down and started singing the song, that's probably how he would sound actually singing it, you know. So to me, that's
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that to me is that I love that approach. Just not thinking of it like you know, just remember the context of where these songs came from, and then like looking at the melody, really not just sitting there on a lead sheet, just playing it strict, but just really making it his own thing, like making it his own voice. Like, you know, Kenny, one thing he I've heard him say is that Whitney Houston is his, like, one of his favorite singers, like absolute favorite singers. And you know, I can kind of see like a similarity just in the term of, you know, in terms of the way he expresses, you know, himself versus like how she does the kind of inflections that they have. So I just think it's, you know, especially when you're doing it from a solo perspective, when it's like one horn, or you know, that's where you can really focus on singing, and the audience can kind of feel that, I believe, much more than it being so mechanical. Yeah,
I love it. Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is, can you, so the melody in its original context, can you give us kind of a sample of what the melody in its original context? Can you even remember what the original context is and how it sounded?
Yeah, I mean,
the only reason I can hear it in my head is because Red Fox used to sing it on Sanford and Son.
Oh yeah.
Night and day, night and day.
Right.
You are the one. So that's the reason I know what that's, you know, what the old sound is, you know.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure I've heard the original, but that's what always comes to me. You know, he used to sing a lot of standards, man. If you go watch Sanford and Son,
yeah, he did.
Doing, what kind of fool am I? You know, he was always he was always singing, man. So, all right, well, let's do this. All right, so check it out. So the beauty of Moises is we can mute stuff. So let's hear just the melody, Kenny Garrett.
Okay. Man.
I think I got the right channel pulled up. Hang on a second.
That's crazy.
Gotcha. I got something y'all don't know about. Gotcha. Finally. Okay, now it sounds like we hang on.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear that with the bass.
Okay.
Let's see here. Actually, let's bring in all the rhythm section. So this would be drums
Okay.
and bass, no harmony. And let's kind of hear what it sounds like. I don't know why we lose it right there, but we do. Might be on a different track.
It's just on another track.
Oh, I see where it is, though. Yeah, so some of it's on the is on the keys, I think, or something. So sometimes the only thing about this is sometimes it'll blend into another stem. So
right. Yeah.
Sometimes when you separate stuff, unless you have like the the super duper version, which I do not. So but yeah, man. All right. So let's now go to the solo. And I'm gonna bring everything back in here and let's see what we got. So let's play a chorus of the solo, and then you can kind of talk about that. We'll talk about the drums too, also. So let's check that out.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna pull that back a little bit.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, if this had been around when I was trying to learn stuff. Okay, so
yeah,
because you can isolate and just you can slow down whatever. Just thought, man. So that just rhythmically. See, this is so rhythmically, man. You gotta talk about this because another thing that I do not hear enough is rhythm when cats are playing. I'm hearing notes and I'm hearing this, or I'm hearing the same rhythm, right? Talk a little bit about, we just listened to a couple of choruses of his solo, and so just kind of give us your feedback on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the first thing, okay, I'll say it like this. There are players that have that, you know, like I break it down in 3 categories. You have rhythm, then you have like expression, that's like the blues or whatever kind of, you know, expressive devices you use in terms of articulation. Then you have the harmony and the melody and all of that. And the harmonic exploration, I mean. So to me, you know, you have some cats that can play rhythm and blues all day, but they have no harmony. You know what I'm saying? Very little harmonic exploration. You have cats that play harmony and, you know, long, like, in other words, long lines, like long bebop lines that go way into like every harmonic possibility that they can come up with, but they're not focused on being expressive with it. It's very minimal expression and very minimal rhythm. Like the minimal rhythm is that it's mostly just eighth notes, you know, just eighth notes and lines and everything.
Right.
But it's not like very much rhythmic diversity to how they're playing.
Right.
You know, and so there are varying degrees of it. See, one thing, like, I've been studying. I really had to get down to the bottom of this Mark Turner thing, because I haven't really been into Mark Turner like that. And
leave Mark Turner alone. Leave Mark Turner alone, man.
It's not. It's not hate. It's not hate at all. It's just I never had really known, you know, where all of this came from with Mark Turner. Now I know. Now, the Lenny Tristano school, I was like, oh, okay. So I went back and did my research, listened, and I had heard about Warren Marsh before, but now I really know about Warren Marsh. And listening, like, his style is a style that's very much focused on the harmonic stuff, you know, and it's a lot of eighth notes and everything. And Warren Marsh, to me, like, had rhythmic diversity too. I'm not saying he didn't. But like the blues thing and that type of expression, not so much. It was just more of a minimal thing where they were focused on like the improvisational compositional technique, you know, counterpoint and things like that, like this exploring the harmony. So all of these, you know, these are different bags, and I'm not saying that one is better than the other. Now, what I prefer is a balance across all 3. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is where we start talking about Kenny, that's the balance, but between all 3. He has the harmony, he has the rhythm, and he has the expression, and he balances it out in a way that's crazy. So listening to the solo, he comes in with theme and variation. You know, it's a concept that Kenny, I feel, is mastered better than anybody. Like the ability to say it, you know, state a theme and then come back and variate on that theme and create phrases out of this. And, you know, he'll do that for an idea. And then you know, as he wraps up or concludes one theme, he introduces something that'll go into another theme and variation, you know. And these will be like rhythmic motifs, not necessarily bebop lines. But then, you know, he might conclude a whole group of phrases with a bebop line. Then he goes back into like something that's kind of shout chorusy, even though it's not a shout chorus. This is part of the song, you know, like, you know, dun 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 dun. You know, like that kind of thing. And so that to me, like, it allows for you to have like a lot of rhythmic diversity within there to play with these themes and keep introducing, you know, themes. It gives your playing like a sense of organization, you know, where you're actually like, you know, it's almost like you're really composing on the spot. with a structure to, you know, you get what I'm saying? With
yeah,
the
I mean, well, you know, I read an interview, and I saw a video of Charles Lloyd talking about that, and he was talking
Mhm.
about that we never even used the word improvisation. We used the word compose. We were trying to
Oh, wow.
compose on the spot, and that always stuck with me. With like, man, how can you get to that level where you're, you know? But there's
Mhm.
evidence of that. There's evidence of that. Let's say a tune like One Finger Snap. Okay,
Mhm.
there was no melody on that.
Right.
Herbie had
Yeah.
those, right? Herbie had the chords and whatever, but what Freddie played is now that's the
Right.
melody.
Right.
And he came up with that on the spot, man.
Right.
You know, so there's
Yeah.
definitely evidence of that type of, because he could have played anything over that, right? He could have blown, he could have
Yeah.
played
You
some
get
crazy,
just started.
could have just started
Mhm.
blowing, whatever. But you know,
Right.
so there's evidence of those moments. I mean, I'm sure there's countless others, but that's a good one to kind of you know, that people, well, if you don't know it, One Finger Snap by Herbie Hancock, if you want to go check that tune out. That's got some complex things in the form and stuff like that, but the trumpet that you're hearing on that tune was not written, like it wasn't written. That was something that Freddie Hubbard came up with on the spot. So if you guys go check that out. So all right, well let's continue, man. I love this. This is killing. All right, so let's I think he's on his third chorus now. So I'll back it up.
Okay.
And then let's hear what else he does. Wow. Jeez. All right, now wait. We got to talk about this, man. Man, we got to talk about this, bro.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard cats. That's all they'll do.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I'm playing out. Oh, I'm you know, come up with all these, you know, these hip titles and stuff. Oh yeah. Now, what's not in context is if you would just hear that and you go, oh, okay, well, yeah, okay, cool. Well, you know, yeah. But to hear how he set that up.
Right.
So this is where, you know, I think again, it's the yes, jazz it's not easy to hear at first. Well, so for some people it is. They just hear it. But I guarantee you that if you are patient and you kind of just force yourself little by little, your mind will be open to a different set of rules, right? As to what's possible inside of music. At least that's what happened to me. At first, I mean, I was like, man, what, you know, but I can hear listening to how he's developed this. I'm like, oh, he's he's really developing this. He's setting up to get to where he wants to go, which is, to me, that's where we're all trying to get to, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do on the drums, man. I mean, some cats make that look easy, but that's hard to do on the drums. But talk a little bit about that, about the setup, right? Because he's sort of, you know, he's sort of taking you on this journey to where he's trying to, if he had started where he is now, where do you have to go?
Right.
So just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, to me that, like, that I mean, I feel like, you know, because back in the day, like, a lot of cats didn't really, like, you listen to Bird back in the day, like, Bird kind of had a set of licks that he played, you know, that were just kind of like Birdisms and everything. And they didn't really have the chance to play long solos like on record back then. Like, usually it would be one chorus, two choruses.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, at the most three.
I never even thought of that. That's interesting that you said. I never even thought about that.
You know, and then when you listen to some of the live gigs, it would be kind of like the same thing. Like, a lot of those gigs would be broadcasted on radio. So still there was kind of like a mindset back then that you didn't take, like, you know, 30 choruses or something. But even though I do have some Bird live stuff where he was like playing extended and you really got to see him like stretch out or whatever. But I think towards, you know, the 50s, 60s, you know, 70s, by the time we got around to the 80s, like in the Young Lions era, in that era, you started to see cats be really artistic with solos. It's like Joshua Redman. I mean, Joshua Redman really takes you on a journey, you know, when he improvises, he really stretches out. And so I think this comes from that period of cats really stretching out and, you know, making an art out of, you know, further extending the art of making a solo. And to me, okay, I ran into Bob Berg when I was in college, right? And Bob Berg, rest in peace, amazing player. So I would never take anything away from him. But the one thing that I noticed from him is, like, when he played Cherokee, he took off all the way, like, for at least like 12 minutes. He was just going. Nothing but eighth notes, no pauses and everything. And I was like, that's amazing. But it's like, I can't listen to it and enjoy it because it's just nothing but a flurry of notes. It's like, there's no contrast. There's nothing, you know, to start from that. So, I mean, I'm not hating on that kind of style because for some things, you know, you want a solo to come in burning, like, from the beginning. But there is that thing of, if you come in burning, then where are you going to go? Right. You know, like, I've seen some players that come in burning, then settle down, and then build it all back up again where it's burning. Absolutely. And that can work too. You know. But here it's like he started from playing around with the melody, doing, you know, like little short theme and variation melodies that were kind of like hooks, you know, that kind of thing. And then just steadily just progressed some of the ideas. There was one part where he was like, da-da, da-da, and then there was a pause. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So it's like he's almost sounding like he's asking a question and then he's answering it, you know, and you can really feel this progression through something where he's taking you somewhere. So, like, when he gets to these flurries of notes, to me it's like, that's, somebody mentioned Eldridge mentioned he went into the Coltrane thing. And it's like, yeah, that's the sheets of sound, Coltrane, Cannonball in the era, like, you know, 58, 59, they were doing that a lot, you know. So it's like he's just kind of taking you through a journey of, like, the history and just, you know, showing like his, you know, different diving into, I mean, like, to me it's like in this solo he went from like the 30s to the 60s. You know, like, just in terms of just, you know, stylistic things that's just kind of running the whole gamut. So I just think that's really amazing, and to do it with so much expression, like where you're not missing like the blues, you're not missing him really, being expressive and singing. That's where I'm getting. Now I wanted to ask you, like, so far, like with Brian Blade, like what are your thoughts?
Yeah. All right, let's check some of that out.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's actually so let's just start with the drums.
Okay.
I'm going to mute. And a lot of times, something that it took me a long time to get to was being able to mark the form as a drummer, to where everybody knows where the form is based on what the drums are doing. And
right.
That was something that was brought to my attention probably by Kina Boto about playing over forms and learning forms, and just playing the forms on the drums. I was like, what? Well, why would I do that? And how do I do that? I didn't understand. I was like, I need the horn and the piano, everything else to play the form. He's like, no, you got to hear that in your head. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was sort of like my entry into that. And then that I started practicing over forms, I was just talking to a young drummer about that last night. But let's just check out Blade. Let's see if we can hear where the form is.
Okay.
Based on the drums.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely coming from Elvin for sure. In this. So I'm just gonna stop it right there. So I mean, again, man, he's not trying to play on the moon.
Right.
The clarity is definitely coming from Elvin, and you're hearing a lot of the middle and the third partial of the triplet in his playing. And the ride cymbal is not ding ding da ding all the it's another thing that I think young drummer, well, I mean some old drummers too, but young drummers you get in that phase of you think everything has to be ding ding da ding ding da ding ding da ding ding da ding 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 da ding the whole time. So
yeah.
So there's never really any there's never really any give and take, and there's never really any room for you to create within that. If you, I mean, you might as well program the beat if that's what it's going to be. I mean, that's
right.
It's kind of like what you were talking about, where the era of the 30s and the 40s, that was kind of is you just kind of keep that, you just kind of keep that that rise cymbal beat the same kind of way. And but then cats were moving off of that, especially when Jimmy Cobb started playing straight eights or straight, in the on the Kind of Blue record. And to me, he's one of the underrated ride cymbal cats, man, is Jimmy Cobb.
Yeah.
Very, very underrated, man, when it comes to that. But Blade is clearly coming from an Elvin approach on this, but not as busy. Like Elvin can be very super busy. Like if you ever get this app, man, and you check out what it's like, sometimes I'm like, man, he's just freaking playing all over the place. In the track, it doesn't always sound like that, but like if you isolate him, it's like, good God, man. It's like, and he even talked about how hard it was for him to get a gig,
really
early on, because the way he, again, it's just everybody's styling for everybody,
Yeah.
And so some cats, it's like, it's not, it just doesn't fit, I guess. But yeah, he talked about that,
I mean, to me, like I'm not the biggest expert on drummers. So, but the thing that I do notice is like, okay, listening to Bird, a lot of Bird's songs, like a lot of his songs, like the majority of his songs that they would play would be like ding 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 ding. It was almost like they were coming out of the swing era, and the expectation was still that people were gonna dance to this music. So it wasn't super fast stuff all the time. Most of the stuff was like really in the pocket, and it was danceable, like that. They were playing and dancing, and now like instead of there being a big band, there were these soloists that were kind of almost being like a big band themselves, playing all the parts, just like that. And so the drummers weren't really busy. Like they would come in with their intro, or when they traded fours, they would, Max would get busy, but but other than that, it would back off and the drums would be in the background. You would get some accents here and there, but that kick would be on all four, going on all four, and it very much would still have like a kind of more strict beat to it. And I think like when Elvin came along, like Elvin was really, with the triplet thing, just really kind of busy. The interaction between the snare and the ride, like it was. Would you say it was rudimentary? A lot of rudiment to it.
Elvin was obviously had phenomenal rudiments, but really, man, Papa Joe and there were other guys that were pre-Elvin, were mixing it up a little bit. I'm not always the greatest historian when it comes to every cat, but yeah, there were cats that were mixing it up a little bit more. Elvin brought more of what he was hearing because he listened to a lot of African drummers. So
yeah.
So because there's also different phases of Elvin. There's different phases of Elvin before Coltrane, and then there's Elvin after Coltrane. So you kind of have to, you can hear different sides of him where it's not all the triplet, playing the heavy triplet thing or playing the heavy African thing. It's a little light He plays like that on even like on Speak No Evil. He plays the Wayne Shorter, Shorter record. He plays
right.
There's a little bit of that, but it's not as like where it as he was developing that, you know, and also as he always said, man, to have a place for that. You know, Coltrane was the one that really gave him the green light on whatever he wanted to do, which is another point of emphasis that it's like I was talking to somebody about this, it might have been Tyrone, where I was like, y'all realize like a lot of our heroes, they were in a situation where they could develop their thing.
Right.
They weren't playing with 20 different people where they just had to do jobs. It was like they had a vehicle to develop in, man. Most of my heroes are guys like that. It doesn't matter what genre it is. It could be rock, it could be funk. They were in a band, and that band gave them, you know, the vehicle to develop their style. Think about how many cats you think about when you talk about them, you're actually talking about a certain style of playing, right? We say, we have all these, you know, cats that are on first name basis, but that's what you're talking about is their style. And their style was developed because they had a freaking band. You know, they might have been doing session dates or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, they had something that they could actually sit in and rehearse and work. That stuff is worked out, man. It's not like people just grab this stuff from the sky and it just happens. That shit is worked out, you know, over a long period of time, you know.
Do you think like Jeff Tain Watts had that, like that same thing, being able to be in a band with like Wynton or with Branford?
Absolutely, because Tain comes from a fusion background. You know, he didn't really play the swing until Wynton until he got with Branford. You know, he didn't know he was coming from fusion, so he's coming from Billy Cobham and Lenny White and, you know, Narada Michael Walden and, you know, all of those kind of cats, man. So which translates, though. It does translate, like, because that teaches you. That teaches you a lot of stuff, because I mean, a lot of the fusion cats were jazz cats first, right? So still writing in a certain way where you have to play the composition and you have to understand form and you know, and certain things like that. So, but Tain is like he's post Elvin, you know, he took Elvin's. He'll tell you point blank. He took Elvin's template and then came up with his thing out of that. So, you know, that's what that's all about. So let's check out the bass is pretty straightforward, man. He's like just down the middle, which is a nice contrast actually to what the other three are doing. Let's hear the bass. Actually, you know what I want to do, because the bass is so straightforward. Let's hear the sax and the drums together.
Okay.
All right. So let's see what we got here. And I'll start this. Let's see. I'm just going to start it kind of in the melody here. Let's see where we are. There's a solo. Let's see.
It's right here.
There we go. So that right there, we're in the money. That's what I hear. We're in the money. We're in the money. You know, just simple things like that, man. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. mean, that's a freaking masterclass, bro. Look, man. And what's so crazy about this is hearing Blade. You know, Blade is pretty tame on this, man. He's pretty.
Yeah.
If that had been Tane Watts on that.
Yeah. He would have gone crazy.
He'd be like, man, I can't let you get all that by yourself. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He would be. So we need to kind of like, there's, you know, we'll find some other tracks where different approaches to similar concepts, but Tane would have been all over that. This is how he plays, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So really interesting, man. This is, I mean, not that I didn't obviously know Kenny Garrett was who he was, but like I'm hearing, you know, it's like, wow, he's got a lot of shit, man, under his belt, dude.
Yeah, man.
Like that you don't like. Usually, you might get 2 out of 3, like you were talking about, like the 3. You know, you get 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3, but he's got like it's like he could play for as long as he wants to, man. And
right.
And still,
and he's not fumbling over ideas. It's just coming. You know, it's almost like he rehearsed it, but it's like, you know, there's no way he could have rehearsed it. You know,
I almost was like, man, did he paste this together, bro? Because that's like that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
And the timing, like his timing is like impeccable. Like just in terms of being able to do all these flurries and then come right back in on beat, without rushing. You know, like without rushing anything. Like he doesn't. Yeah, I hear players that, you know, they get off rhythmically sometimes, and it's like they got to catch back up with the band. But it's like with him, it's like he's right there in sync with Blade the whole time, no matter what. Yeah. So I just
yeah, man. Yeah.
They train for us.
Okay.
When it's solo, though. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to that real quick. Let's see if I can see that.
It's like just before that. It's before that.
Woo! Good Lord. I mean, how many ways can you play a melody? That's like that's insane.
See, man. I'm working. I've named this thing that I've been doing for a while. That it was inspired by Kenny, but like when I practice, I call it improvisational sequence generation. And what it is taking a little idea and seeing how many ways I can flip it. And then I do it with a metronome, and then I'll speed the metronome up and keep trying to keep up with just coming up with different ways that I can play it, either rhythmically or just, you know, in terms of the shape. It might be like 4 notes. So like, let me go back and forth and figure out how I can flip these four notes. I mean, just because to me, like, I don't want to rehearse lines. That's the thing, falling into playing lines to where your stuff starts to sound repetitive each time you play it, instead of like having a true element of improvisation where no matter what's coming next, you can adapt to it and continue with what you're doing and really just execute the idea that's in your head, with ease. And I feel like you have to develop the improvisational side, like of yourself. You have to practice on like true improvisation. And to me, that's a thing I've practiced it for a while, but now it's like I've finally put a name to it. But I feel like this dude has he has that ability, to just keep regenerating ideas and build off of them and be very intent on what he's doing rather than, which speaks to like what we were going to talk about tonight in terms of what he's thinking about before we play. But it's like I don't get the sense that he's fumbling over something. And if he does, he can like adapt so quickly that you would never know that he just messed up. You know what I'm saying? So to me, like, yeah, that's the thing. And just the singing part of it, like that's important to me. Like I was in an era where we were writing melodies, like extremely complex melodies over songs. Like Quamon Fowler, the tenor saxophone player, we used to hang out, and that was cool, because it's like we were young, we were playing, had all these fourths and wide intervals and melodies and stuff like that, and trying to do that. But like, jazz is not. And I'm just saying, like, jazz or this music, whatever you want to call it, we have to remember where it came from. It started off as dance music, and then it got on steroids. And it's fine that it got on steroids, but still, like, there was an element of this was the original popular music that everybody could listen to and understand and love. And then we get to this point to where like now it's just all eighth notes and let me show you how much harmony I can play on you, and and just all this. And is nothing wrong with that. That's a subgenre of the music, and I know there are people that are into that. But again, balance. Like, who's listening to you? Are you playing this stuff just so you can get your rocks off with the harmony, or are you trying to play to an audience of people that still, appreciate what you're trying, appreciate it and can understand and sing along with you, like that to me is a measure, like, yeah. So,
yeah, great points, man. This was cool, man. We'll do more of this, but as much respect as I have for Kenny, I have even more. Like mastery is no joke, man. And though these words of great and epic and and master and G are thrown around like they're thrown around like nouns now. Just you're like it's like no. It's like, come on, like the bar is so low at this point that it just kind of is what it is. But but man, that's a great. Hopefully, if you guys go back, if you're just coming in, or if, this is a good episode to study, go back and listen to some of the stuff that we were talking about. We're breaking down Kenny Garrett, Night and Day, which is just a jazz standard that has been done hundreds of times and is sung at every jam session worldwide. So might have been done last night. I can't remember. But yeah, so well, cool guys. Well, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. set your notification bell, and you will know when we go live. We need to do some more shows, man. We don't have to just be on Tuesday, but man, time is I mean, the summer we should probably get some more of this kind of stuff in, man, while we can.
Okay.
Before students and everything pulls up. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Like I said, we were a 2-man team tonight. My man was stuck in the airport or stuck in the sky. And we'll be back next week, actually, with our topic, to think or not to think. That is the question. And we're going to talk about, I'm looking forward to that, because I want to hear what you guys had to say about that. As I have my own battles with that. I've lived in it's so funny, man, because for so long I've lived in the unconscious, and now I'm trying to live more in the conscious, if that makes any sense.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
got an interesting just my own sort of like how I've dealt with that. But anyway, guys, thanks for everybody for hanging out, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks. Peace.
All right.